Hello, this is week 9 of our animal unit, and today we will talk about amphibians. About amphibians. Amphibians have soft, moist skin. Most amphibians spend part of their lives in water and part on land. Amphibians hatch from eggs laid in water or wet places. They change as they grow into adults. Some amphibians have tails. Others lose their tails as they grow up. Amphibians have many enemies. Some are camouflaged for protection. Others are protected by poison glands in their skin. Amphibians bury themselves and sleep through very cold or very hot weather. Some amphibians have voices and call to each other. Most amphibians eat insects. Some may eat snakes, worms, and other small animals. It is important to protect amphibians and the places where they live. Leopard frog. Frogs are part of a group called amphibians. An amphibian spends the first part of its life in the water. Later, its body changes and it lives on land. A leopard frog is about 3 inches long. Like all frogs, its back legs are very long and strong. This helps the frog swim quickly. A frog's back legs also make it a great jumper. Many frogs can jump 5 to 10 feet in one hop. That's a long trip for a little frog. Tadpole. Most frogs lay their eggs in the water. Some lay several thousand eggs at a time. After a few days or weeks, the eggs hatch into tadpoles. A tadpole has a tail and no legs. It breathes through gills just like a fish does and lives in the water. In time, a tadpole's body begins to change. It grows legs. Lungs develop and the gills disappear. Now the tadpole is a frog and it can live on land. This change from tadpole to frog is called metamorphosis. Common toad. Toads and frogs are both amphibians. They look alike, but there are a few ways to tell them apart. A toad's skin is dry and bumpy, while a frog has damp, smooth skin. Toads are also heavier and slower than frogs and spend more time on land than frogs do. American toads live in gardens and woods. They do not like the heat. To keep cool, they will bury themselves in the mud. They usually come out at night to hunt for insects. Fowler's toad. Toads have several ways to protect themselves from animals that like to eat them. They can hide in a hole or play dead. Sometimes they puff up their bodies to look bigger and scarier. A toad also has a pair of glands on top of its head. These glands release a bad-tasting poison that can make other animals sick. The Fowler's toad lives in North America. It eats insects by catching them on its tongue. Painted salamander. Salamanders look a lot like lizards, but they are actually part of the amphibian family. Most salamanders live on land, but they like damp places. Underneath a rock or a log is a favorite spot. Painted salamanders live in the western part of North America. They are about 5 inches long and brightly colored. Spotted salamander. The spotted salamander lays its eggs in ponds. The young or larvae have gills and live in the water. But when they get older, their bodies change. Then the salamanders live on land. The spotted salamander lives in moist woods. It eats worms and insects by catching them on its sticky tongue. Next time you're outside doing a nature walk, look for salamanders. Oftentimes you'll find them underneath your bushes. If you want to check out a toad at nighttime, I find toads out on the sidewalk outside my home. If you want to see a frog, you're more likely to see those near water. Look up, there's my frog. And here's tadpoles. And oftentimes I would see tadpole eggs in my pool when I was a child, and I'd see them first as an egg. I'd see them turn into tadpoles, and eventually they would turn into a frog. So on your next nature walk, be looking for some of these amphibians we've talked about. Bye-bye.